Naval blockade, enforced at Veracruz. The U.S. Gulf Expeditionary Corps and U.S. Pacific Scout Squadron successfully establish a rigorous naval blockade off the coast of Veracruz and Tampico. American warships intercept merchant vessels attempting to run the gauntlet, seizing cargo and turning back neutral traders. This stranglehold effectively cuts off the centralist Republic of Mexico from vital European supplies and revenue, crippling their ability to sustain the war. The economic pressure mounts rapidly as Mexican ports sit idle under the shadow of the stars and stripes. Invasion of Baja California launched. 15,000 American troops depart from Arizona garrisons, crossing the border into Baja California in a coordinated amphibious and overland assault. The Mexican defenses in the peninsula are sparse and poorly supplied, crumbling quickly under the weight of the invasion force. Towns along the Gulf of California surrender without significant resistance as American columns advance southward. This operation aims to secure the entire peninsula, denying Mexico any foothold on the Pacific coast north of Cape San Lucas. Mexican economy collapses under blockade. The comprehensive naval blockade, imposed by the United States of America, triggers a catastrophic economic collapse within the centralist Republic of Mexico. Inflation skyrockets as imported goods vanish from markets, and the government struggles to pay its soldiers due to halted customs revenue. Riots erupt in Mexico City and Guadalajara as citizens demand an end to the war that has brought only starvation and ruin. Santa Anna's regime faces its most severe internal crisis yet, with loyalty among the officer corps beginning to fracture. Fall of La Paz. American forces capture La Paz, the capital of Baja California, after a brief skirmish with local militia. The victory secures control over the southern half of the peninsula, completing the conquest of the region. With the fall of La Paz, organized Mexican resistance in Baja ceases entirely, leaving the territory firmly under American occupation. The United States of America immediately begins establishing civil administration to govern the newly acquired lands. British protest, naval interceptions. The British Empire issues a formal diplomatic protest regarding the interception of British merchant vessels by the US Navy during the blockade enforcement. London demands compensation for seized cargo and insists on the rights of neutral nations to trade freely. While sympathetic to the American cause, Britain warns that excessive aggression against neutral shipping could strain relations. The US State Department responds by reaffirming the legality of the blockade under international law, but promises to review specific claims of improper seizure. Santa Anna faces coup attempt. Discontent within the Mexican military boils over as a faction of generals attempts a coup against General Santa Anna in Mexico City. The plotters cite the disastrous war effort and economic ruin as justification for removing the dictator. Although the coup is swiftly crushed by loyalist troops, the event exposes deep fissures within the Mexican leadership. Santa Anna purges the officer corps of suspected dissidents, further weakening the army's command structure just as American pressure intensifies. American consolidation in Sonora. With Baja California secured, the United States of America shifts focus to consolidating its hold on Sonora. Supply lines are reinforced, and forts are constructed to protect against guerrilla raids. Local populations, weary of chaos from Mexico City, begin cooperating with American authorities in exchange for stability and trade. The region transitions from a war zone to an occupied territory, integrating economically with Arizona and California. Yucatan separatists declare independence, emboldened by American victories and the collapse of central authority in Mexico. Leaders in the Yucatan Peninsula formally declare independence from the Centralist Republic of Mexico. They cite the inability of Mexico City to protect them from American invasion and indigenous uprisings as primary reasons. The new Republic of Yucatan immediately seeks recognition and protection from the United States of America, offering favorable trade terms in exchange. This development isolates Mexico further, stripping it of another vital region. U.S. recognizes Yucatan independence. The United States of America formally recognizes the independence of the Republic of Yucatan, establishing diplomatic relations and signing a treaty of friendship and commerce. American officials view the new republic as a strategic buffer and a valuable trading partner. This recognition infuriates the remnants of the Mexican government, which denounces the move as blatant interference. However, with no capacity to enforce its will, Mexico can only issue hollow protests while watching its empire disintegrate. Guerrilla warfare intensifies in Chihuahua. As conventional Mexican resistance fades, irregular guerrilla bands in Chihuahua and Durango intensify their attacks on American supply convoys. These hit-and-run tactics harass U.S. forces stretching logistics thin across the northern desert. The United States of America responds by deploying mobile cavalry units to hunt down the partisans, leading to a brutal counterinsurgency campaign. The conflict evolves from a war of conquest into a grinding struggle for pacification. Spring campaign planning in Washington. President Van Buren convenes his cabinet and top generals to plan the spring campaign, aiming to deliver a final blow to Mexican resistance. Strategies discussed include a direct march on Mexico City from the north and an amphibious landing at Veracruz to cut the heart out of the enemy. The consensus leans toward a pincer movement to overwhelm remaining Mexican defenses before the rainy season begins. The United States of America prepares to mobilize additional reinforcements for this decisive push. French offer mediation again. Seeing the imminent collapse of Mexico, France makes another diplomatic overture to the United States of America, proposing a mediated peace conference in Paris. French envoys suggest a settlement where Mexico cedes the disputed territories in exchange for financial compensation. The U.S. government, sensing total victory is within reach, politely declines the offer, stating that peace terms must be dictated by the victor on the battlefield. France withdraws its proposal, unwilling to risk antagonizing the rising American power. American forces mass on the border. Huge concentrations of American troops gather along the borders of Coahuila and Nuevo Leon, preparing for the invasion of central Mexico. Artillery parks are established, and supply depots overflow with provisions for the long march south. The sight of the massive army demoralizes Mexican defenders, many of whom desert rather than face the juggernaut. The United States of America stands poised to strike the death blow to the Centralist Republic. Mexican government flees capital. Panic sweeps through Mexico City as rumors spread of the approaching American army. Key members of the Centralist Republic of Mexico's government pack their belongings and flee south toward Oaxaca, abandoning the capital to its fate. Santa Anna remains briefly to organize a last-ditch defense, but realizes the situation is hopeless. The effective collapse of the central government leaves Mexico in a state of anarchy, with regional warlords beginning to assert their own authority. Amphibious assault on Veracruz begins. The United States of America launches a massive amphibious operation against the eastern Mexican coast, targeting the vital port of Veracruz. 15,000 soldiers from the U.S. Expeditionary Force and Gulf Corps disembark under heavy naval cover, overwhelming the depleted Mexican coastal defenses. The city's garrison, demoralized by months of blockade and starvation, offers only sporadic resistance before retreating inland. This successful landing establishes a crucial beachhead for the invasion of central Mexico, effectively cutting the nation in half. Northern offensive sweeps New Mexico. Reinforced to 10-0 men. The U.S. Northern Invasion Force crosses into New Mexico and Chihuahua, executing a rapid offensive to seize key settlements. Mexican defenses in the north have largely collapsed due to lack of supplies and leadership, allowing American columns to advance with minimal opposition. Towns like Santa Fe and Chihuahua City surrender without a fight as local populations seek stability amidst the chaos. The United States of America solidifies its control over the northern territories, bringing manifest destiny closer to fruition. Santa Anna flees to Oaxaca, with American forces securing Veracruz and advancing from the north. General Santa Anna abandons any pretense of defending Mexico City and flees south to Oaxaca. The capital descends into anarchy as remaining government officials scatter or surrender to approaching U.S. patrols. Looting erupts in the streets as the power vacuum leaves civilians vulnerable, prompting desperate calls for order from any authority. The effective collapse of the central government marks the end of organized Mexican resistance on a national scale. Occupation of Mexico City. Advanced units of the United States of America enter Mexico City unopposed, raising the stars and stripes over the National Palace. The occupation force immediately establishes martial law to restore order, distributing food, supplies to the starving populace to win hearts and minds. Local elites quickly pledge allegiance to the new administration, hoping to preserve their status under American rule. The fall of the capital signals the definitive end of the centralist republic as a sovereign entity capable of continuing the war. Annexation ultimatum issued. President Van Buren issues a formal proclamation declaring the immediate annexation of all remaining Mexican territories from California to Chiapas into the United States of America, citing the total collapse of Mexican sovereignty and the necessity of restoring order. The decree demands unconditional submission from all regional governors. The proclamation frames the absorption as a humanitarian intervention to end suffering and establish permanent peace under American law. Regional leaders face a stark choice: accept American rule or face destruction as outlaws. Governor of California surrenders, facing isolation and lacking any support from the defunct central government. The governor of California formally surrenders to representatives of the United States of America. American flags are raised in Monterey and Los Angeles as the territory peacefully transitions to U.S. control. The bloodless conquest secures the Pacific coast for the Union, fulfilling a primary war aim without further combat. Local residents breathe a sigh of relief as stability returns to the fractious province. Resistance collapses in Guanajuato. Organized resistance in Guanajuato dissolves as local militias lay down their arms upon hearing news of Mexico City's fall. The United States of America deploys occupation troops to secure silver mines and protect infrastructure from looters. Former Mexican officers are offered commissions in the new territorial militia, to help maintain order, integrating them into the American system. The rapid pacification of central Mexico demonstrates the efficiency of the U.S. military machine. Jalisco accepts American authority. The state of Jalisco, home to Guadalajara, votes to accept American authority after a brief debate among local elites. The United States of America promises to respect property rights and local customs, easing fears of radical change. American administrators arrive to set up civil governance, replacing the chaotic interim councils that had ruled since the collapse. The integration of Jalisco completes American control over western Mexico. Puebla opens gates to U.S. Army. Strategic city of Puebla opens its gates to the United States of America, recognizing the futility of resisting the occupying power. The location serves as a critical gateway to the south, and its peaceful transfer secures supply lines for further operations. American engineers begin repairing fortifications to defend against any potential counterattacks from remaining holdouts. The swift capitulation underscores the total breakdown of Mexican national will. Michoacan submits to Union. The state of Michoacan formally submits to the authority of the United States of America, ending any lingering hopes of independent resistance in the region. Local leaders sign treaties of incorporation, handing over administrative control to American appointees. The U.S. Army moves to secure the coastline and prevent any foreign powers from exploiting the power vacuum. The map of North America is fundamentally redrawn as the American eagle spreads its wings over the former Mexican heartland.